live on a Saturday. So Saturday, November 22nd. We are on the eve of the Sunday of week 12 of the NFL and fantasy season. Crazy that we're already here, week 12. 3 more weeks to go before your fantasy playoffs start for most people. So kind of that final push either to make the playoffs, secure a spot, secure the number 1, number 2 seed, whatever you need to do. We are here hopefully helping you get there. So, but yeah, hopefully we get some people in here and we kick this baby off. We got college football all weekend, all day today. So it's a lot of people's for college football. It's a lot of people's kind of warm up or not warm up game, but like a kind of a cupcake game before they play their conference championships and all that fun stuff. So, but yeah, we are here and we are talking fantasy football as always. Also got some UFC on if you're into that. So there's a lot of sports as always. Kind of looking through my league, seeing if I have any close decisions to make with any of my players here. I guess we will wait and see until still a lot of guys that are like kind of questionable, could be ruled out, all that fun stuff. So BTJ is out. Joe Burrow is not going to play. So that's disappointing, although I think it was a bit of a long shot for Burrow to play. But we'll see. Maybe he's there on Thanksgiving, comes back Thanksgiving. I don't know. Bengals really need to win, though. They kind of need to win out in order to do anything. And I don't know if that's going to be possible for them, if I'm being completely honest. So, but yeah, let's get some questions in here. If you have it, start, sit, trade questions, whatever it may be, dynasty questions, whatever you need, we can hopefully help you with that. As I'm kind of just looking through my lineups here, seeing if I have anything that I need to change. Bucky Irving's out, so that hurts. So I need to figure out something for this team here. Yeah. But yeah, get your questions in, guys, if you have them. We'll be here for the next, we'll go an entire hour if we get enough questions. If not, we'll kind of take off a little bit early, but make sure to hit the like button for us. That's all we ask. Hit the like button. It's free. It takes little to no effort. It helps get eyes on the video. So hit that like button for us, please. If you are interested in joining our Discord, join our Discord. I'm going to leave the link here in the live chat. It's free to join. You'll know when we go live. Every time we go live, if you play Dynasty, we'll play some Dynasty listener leagues that we're going to create. We already have 3 of them. We're going to create a couple more here during this off season, if possible. Also redraft for next year if you're interested. Yeah, appreciate all of you. And yeah, just hit that like button for us. Lynn is here. Purdy is my quarterback. Start Pearsall or go with Alec Pierce. Drop Monangai for Tootin. I think the Monangai for Tootin is a little bit of a lateral thing. I don't know if I could tell you, one of them is going to be better than the other for sure. I don't know if I can confidently tell you who that's going to be. I think they're both similar. They're both behind. They're both behind their respective number ones in ETN and Swift. I don't think those guys are going to go away. I do think that Monangai has a little bit more. Monangai has a little bit more upside as like an every down back if something does happen to Swift. Whereas I think if ETN gets hurt, LaQuint Allen probably gets a decent amount of run in that offense. I don't think Tootin is going to just 100% take over the backfield. I could be wrong about that. So I don't know. I honestly, I can't really tell you. It sounds like you're not starting either one. Is that right? I probably lean Tootin. I like him a little bit more. So I would maybe do that, but I don't think it's, definitive. You have to do that. or not. In terms of the other question there, Pearsall versus Alec Pierce, man, it's back to back for me. I think I go Pearsall though, and the reason being is the matchup here. Pearsall came back; he was absolutely involved to this offense. He came back; he played 75% of the snaps his first game back. Now he didn't translate to targets or anything, but he came back and he played a lot, which is encouraging. I'm worried about Alec Pierce's matchup against the Chiefs. Yeah, the matchups against the Chiefs and them kind of just dominating that. So I would lean Pearsall, but it's honestly back to back for me there, Lynn. Appreciate you. Hello from India. How's it going? Yeah, if you want to play, join play fantasy football. I don't know if there's a lot of fantasy football players out in India, but I hope there are. So feel free to start playing there. Any other questions, guys? Get them in the chat here, and we will answer them for you. We got some good games this week. We're starting to see the good teams separate themselves a little bit. We got Chiefs Colts, which is going to be fun. Packers Vikings is always going to be fun. Bears Steelers will be interesting. Cowboys Eagles. I think Cowboys might upset the Eagles this week. Rams Bucks is fun. 49ers Panthers Monday Night Football. I think that's kind of a sneaky. I think that's like a sneaky good game. Doesn't seem super exciting, but I think it's going to be a sneaky good game. So next week we got our Thanksgiving slate. We got 3 games on Thanksgiving and then Black Friday. So watch out for that. I want to say no. Okay, I was wrong there. So we got 4 games. You got 4 games happening before the Sunday slate back in week 12 there. So any other questions, guys, get them in that chat for us. Fantasy football or whatnot. Like I said, college football has kicked off today. A lot of cupcake matchups, but some good matchups too. Some good matchups in the college football world. Missouri, Oklahoma, USC, and Oregon will be fun. So, but anyways, guys, yeah, drop the questions in the chat here as we continue along. Dropping a Dynasty video, so make sure to check that out if you so please. Also, we will be live tomorrow. Answering your Sunday questions an hour before the games. So if you are interested in joining us then join us. So what other news do we have? Looks like Kenneth Walker is questionable. Expected to play, though, so that's good. Not that, Kenneth Walker's been amazing, but we obviously want him out there. Xavier Worthy is trending in the right direction, officially questionable. Good thing they play an early game, so we'll know what's going on there. Jackson Dart is out, unfortunately. So Paul says start Montgomery or Michael Wilson. I think it's Michael Wilson. I think it is Michael Wilson there. So, yeah, I'm going to go Michael Wilson. I don't mind the matchup for Michael Wilson. Let's see here. Jaguars are kind of middle of the pack, but closer to the higher side of points allowed to wide receivers and quarterbacks. Michael Wilson could get fed targets. David Montgomery, I kind of talked about it a little bit. He's not scoring touchdowns. Like I don't think his role has really changed too much. I mean, this year he's played in 10 games. He's averaging 11 carries and less than about a 1.5 catches a game, right? So he's averaging 12.5 touches a game. So he's on pace for 212 touches. That's pretty close to what he was. Well, actually, it's less. He's definitely getting the ball less. But he's also just not scoring touchdowns. So And that's the big thing with Montgomery is like you go back and look at his box scores with the Lions. A lot of games you would have been very disappointed if he did not score a touchdown, except he just scored touchdowns. Now he's not doing that, and so we're getting kind of a down year for David Montgomery there. So I'm going Michael Wilson, man. Michael Wilson is going to light it up with the stud. And Marvin knew I said Jacoby Brissett's name, and he pops up into the chat here. I say his name, and he pops up. Like, I'm going to go with the stud, and the stud, Jacoby Brissett, throwing the ball to Michael Wilson. So desperation start here. Devin Neal, Keaton Mitchell, Rashard Smith. Oof. That is some desperation there for sure. My gut instinct was Keaton Mitchell. I'm trying to think here. Let me just double check some stuff here. I could be wrong about that. So Keaton Mitchell last week played 26% of the snaps, and that was in a close game. Could they blow out the Jets and then Keaton Mitchell gets the fourth quarter or something for that game, right? I think that's a possibility, right? So that's a little bit heading towards Keaton Mitchell a bit. Devin Neal here. Let me just double check. Devin Neal has been playing. He's been playing more, 30 to 40% of the snaps, but it's not really translating a whole lot to touches. But they did have a bye week, right? They did have a bye week. So do they kind of move a little bit more towards Devin Neal there? Rashard Smith, I want him to be a thing. I just don't think he's going to be a thing this year, unfortunately. So I order it. Keaton Mitchell, Devin Neal, Rashard Smith. I do think Devin Neal is probably going to play the most out of those, but I think Keaton Mitchell can do the most with the least amount of work, if that makes sense. And I think blowout chance, the Ravens have the biggest chance to blow out their team, which would lend to maybe benching Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter. Like you could get that type of game, and then Keaton Mitchell, he gives you 10 carries in the fourth quarter and has a good game. So that's where I would go, Paul. I'm curious who's on the waiver wire, though, Paul. Is there anyone on the waiver wire? Like, who are the top players on the waiver wire? They could be a little bit more intriguing there. Like I said, Marv is here. Appreciate you, Marv. He always provides us with stuff to talk about, which I appreciate, especially when I'm solo today. I need things to talk about, so keep them coming, please. The downside of leagues with low activity. You find yourself with every bench spot having value. I should have dropped Ertz for Mason Taylor. I had Daniel Jones. I regret dropping Brissett. Yeah, that is tough. In Dynasty, though, you didn't do all that in Dynasty, right? This is redraft, I assume you're talking about. Hawkinson and Judy and Montgomery worth a mid late first. Should I hold? Everyone is discounting these guys big time. I think you're right. You know what's funny? I just made a Dynasty Followers video that's going to be coming out, I think, in 15 minutes. And Hawkinson and Montgomery are both on that video. Montgomery, the issue with Montgomery is he's not scoring touchdowns, right? That's the big issue with them. So if you think the Lions can get back to, he's also getting less touches. So we do have to note that he's averaging 12 and a half touches per game this year. You look at his last couple of years with the Lions, he was over 15 touches a game per game. 2023 with the Lions, he averaged over 16 and a half touches per game. Last year for the Lions, he averaged almost over 15 and a half touches per game. So he's getting 3 to 4 less touches per game, and he's not scoring touchdowns. So I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I think David Montgomery's, he's still a low end RB. He's kind of an RB3 this year. Like, he's kind of like desperation play during bye weeks and stuff. You hope he gets a touchdown. I wouldn't be shocked if we've kind of seen the end of Montgomery, like as a top 20 running back, unless Jahmyr Gibbs gets hurt. So I don't think Montgomery's going to be going anywhere necessarily. He's on the Lions for a couple more years. I don't think it really makes a whole lot of sense for them to cut him. He's owed $8.3 million, but he has a $5 million dead cap. So it's like, your $5 million of his 8.5 is going to dead money. I don't see the Lions just wasting that. So there's a chance though that Montgomery's just no good anymore, right? Hockenson, I don't really know what's going on there. Is it the injury that's really affected Hockenson? Since his ACL tear, Hockenson hasn't been that good, right? He hasn't been that good. He came back in 2024. He missed like the first 6-7 weeks of the season. He averaged in 2024 4.5 yards per carry, 45 yards per game. Not yards per carry, receptions per game, 4.1 receptions per game. So that's dropped even more this year. I don't know if it's the quarterback, if it's Hockenson. I don't know. I don't know what it is there, right? So and then there's Jeudy. I personally think that Jeudy could go to a team potentially, and let me just double check. I think he's under contract, which kind of sucks, right? Yeah, he's under contract another year. They're not going to cut him, so unless they can trade him away, which they potentially could, because he only has a $10 million cap hit, and then his contract is structured in a way that you can get out of. Like if he goes to a team, man, like if he's on the Bills or something like that, I think Judy's good. Like I'm not saying he's like elite, but I think he's a top 24 guy. All that being said, in a shallower league, Marv, I think I would take the mid first if it's a mid first. If it's a late first, and obviously you don't know that right now, I probably wouldn't take it. If it's a deeper league, then I think I'm keeping those players instead of the first. So yeah, I would much in a shallow league, I will take the first. Deeper league, I'll keep the players there. No one's on the waiver wire, Paul. Who's the best? Tell me who. Go to the waiver wire. Tell me who's the most projected. Just curious. If you want, you don't have to. Last minute trade offer. Please weigh in. PPR 10-team redraft league. I give St. Brown and get James Cook. Is it too much of an overpay? I still have JSN, Adams, and Pickens. So what's your running back situation? Rock and roll. So it sounds like you're pretty. You're basically deciding. You're because of your team. You're benching like Pickens each week or something like that, right? Like you're choosing between Adams and Pickens. I assume you're starting JSN. You're probably starting Amon-Ra because he's been good and the name value, right? So you're kind of like deciding between Pickens and Adams each and every week, I would assume, right? So what's your running back situation here? Who's your RB2, RB1 here? Because I don't mind it. I would prefer St. Brown over James Cook. Let me just start off by saying that. I want James in a vacuum. I want James Brown over James Brown. I want St. Brown over James Cook. Okay. But I don't think it's that far off. And because you have really good depth here, and you have I don't want to be benching Pickens or Adams unless you can start those 4 wide receivers. So I need to know a little bit more context here. Are you able to start St. Brown, JSN, Adams, and Pickens each and every week? If you are, then I think I just stick with my team. If one of those guys is on the bench each and every week, then I do make that move. You stream Pickens and Adams each week at running back, streaming another running back off waiver. But rock and roll, can you start all 4 of those wide receivers? Can you start each and every can you start JSN, Adams, Pickens, and St. Brown each week? Is it a 3 wide receiver flex league, or is it a 2 wide receiver 2 flex league? Because if you can, I still lean towards St. Brown. I'm interested in the Lions this final stretch. They play indoors, I think, in every single game except for week 18, which it doesn't matter for fantasy. So they're indoors against the Giants, against the Packers, against the Cowboys, against the Rams, against the Steelers, and against the Vikings. That lends towards Jared Goff playing well. They have pretty good matchups, in my opinion. Giants, Packers, Cowboys, Steelers, Vikings are not terrible matchups. Rams are tough. They have one really tough matchup, I think, out of their last 6 fantasy relevant games here. So I think that St. Brown's going to be good. So if you can start all 4 of those guys each and every week, I'm keeping St. Brown. Okay, so you start 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, flex. So one of those guys is on a bench. Then I'm making the trade. I'll make the trade. I'll get James Cook there. So that solves it for me there. Rock and roll. Would you go Brissett against the Jags or Stafford against Tampa? I'm gonna go Stafford. I'm Stafford. I like Brissett this week. I think I have him as a top 10 guy this week, but I'm not going to start him over Stafford. I know Stafford wasn't great last week, but he was playing the Seahawks. Before that, he was like he was still threw 2 touchdowns last week, but he was on a MVP type of pace. Before that, the Buccaneers, I'm not super worried about when it comes to points and matchups and stuff like that. So Stafford still for me. Also, Sean Tucker or ETN this week. PPR, I assume, cash money. I'll go ETN. Yeah, I'll go ETN. I will go ETN. Rock and roll, I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Guys, if you do feel like there is an option to super chat. I don't require it. I try to answer every question. But if you do want to super chat to support the channel or to get your question read and kind of push it up push it up the queue, I will do that and we'll get to that. So appreciate you, rock and roll. And I hope you make that trade and I hope you win your championship. So it is PPR. Cash Money said, yeah, I'll go ETN still. I'll still go ETN. Just double checking here. ETN gets the Cardinals, who are on the plus side of a matchup here. Sean Tucker gets the Rams. Yeah. Give me ETN there. The better matchup, and I just think the better start. Mac Jones, Davis Mills, Kyler Willis, Lance. Which quarterback do you see the Raiders picking up? That's a good question. Where are the Raiders right now? Raiders are. Appreciate you, Cash Money. You didn't have to do that, but I honestly appreciate that a lot. Means a lot. We don't do this because we're making money. Really, we make a little bit, but nothing too crazy. We do it because we love it. But obviously, it's much appreciated here. Any other questions, Cash Money? Get them in here. So Raiders are 6th right now in the draft rankings. Right, they have the 6th spot right now. They have a pretty significant lead in win percentage, strength of schedule over a lot of the 2 and 8 teams. So, who would they pick up, man? Maybe they pick up both those guys. They better pick up someone, though. They better pick up someone. Because, man, Geno looks cooked, right? Like, Geno looks bad. I know that offensive line isn't great, but, man, I wonder if Pete Carroll is I don't think he's a one and done, but I don't expect him to go through this huge, like, rebuild type of situation, so, if they don't improve much next year, Pete Carroll's probably gone. CJ Ham and Dylan Lobb is on the waiver wire. Is this a dynasty league, Paul? It must be a dynasty league then, right? That we're talking about. If those are the best players on the waiver wire, then we have to be talking dynasty there. So yeah, I would go Keaton Mitchell just for the potential. Like, again, Keaton Mitchell is one of those players. He can have 5 touches and have a big game. He can have 5 touches in a big game, and there's a chance the Ravens blow out the Jets. So, moving right along. Stream Pickens or Adams? Okay, we talked about that. So yeah, rock and roll. Hope we make that trade. One more. I was offered Jamar Chase and JMO for Amon-Ra. That's a smash except with Burrow back, right? 7-4 second place. Still have Puka. I would absolutely take that. Yeah. Hell yeah, take that. Romeo Dobbs worth a mid-second. What's your mindset buying these guys that aren't established but have done very well? I think a mid-second's a little bit too rich for Dobbs. Here's what I'll say when it comes to guys like Dobbs. Again, a lot of it depends on league format. Again, in our listener leagues, we do 12 teams start 12, right? So you look at like who are people starting each and every week. The best team in the league has a pretty good lineup, but even he's starting, Tyler Algier this week, right? He started Joshua Palmer this week, right? The best player in the league. He's 20-2. We do, once against. He's only lost twice this year. He's 20-2. Lost twice, lost 2 points. There's 22 total points. It's Cass. He's only, he's 20-2, and he's starting Josh Palmer in his lineup this week, right? He would love to start Romeo Dobbs this week. So deeper lineups, I do think guys like that are worth like a mid to late second, but I also don't want to give up a mid to late second for those guys, but I also don't want to trade them away for anything less than that, really. A couple thirds or a late second or something, I'll do it. I play in a 14-team league, a 14-team start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So a 14-team start 10. That's essentially close to a 12-team start 12, right? And so I start Romeo Dobbs almost each and every week, right? So my mindset is like I don't feel comfortable buying guys like that for a mid to late second, but I also don't feel comfortable giving up guys like that for just for anything less than that. And in shallow leagues, those guys aren't worth it, in my opinion, because it just comes down to the fact, like, if you're starting Romeo Dobbs each and every week in a 12-team start 8 or something, 12-team start 9, you're probably losing anyways, right? You're probably losing your matchups anyways. So, 1 second, guys. Moving right along. We did that. Your face is rarely unique. Thank you, Life is Precious. I agree, Life is precious, and I don't know how to take that, but unique is good. Yes, PPR. Kirk Cousins retirement tour, our team or team audition. We'll find out, I guess, right? If he plays well, then team audition. If he plays like crap, then retirement tour, right? So Kirk Cousins is going to be 38 next year. Yeah, this very well could be a retirement tour for him. Although, he gets some plus matchups here, right? He gets some plus matchups: Saints, Jets, Bucks, Cardinals, Saints again. So he gets, he has a couple tough matchups, Seahawks and Rams in there, but he gets some easy ones there. I need 2 this week, full PPR: Javonte Williams, Hall, or Judkins. Full PPR. Javonte Williams, Breece Hall, or Judkins. Man, I'm a little bit worried about the matchup here for Javonte Williams. Sorry, I'm just pulling up here. Eagles are middle of the pack against running backs. Let's see the last 4 weeks. Still middle of the pack. So I guess they're giving up a decent amount of points there. I think I go Breece Hall and Javonte. I think that's the direction I would go, but I'm not super confident in that. You know what? I'm going to change that. I'm going to go Judkins and Breece Hall. I'm a little bit worried about the Eagles matchup there. They're getting better, and man, let me just see some of the Eagles games last week. So they played the Lions, and they made them look silly. Obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs was was awesome, but he was good in the passing game, if I remember right. Yeah, I mean Jahmyr Gibbs was good because he had 5 for 107. Like Javonte's not going to do that type of production. They played the Packers before that. Josh Jacobs, 21 carries, 74 yards. Also had 5 for 33. I don't know. I think I'd go Judkins and Hall and just avoid the bad matchup there with the Eagles. So yeah. Yes, indeed. Keep the questions coming, guys. It doesn't matter if it's start sit or just any type of question at all about Dynasty, about football, anything of that nature. And as I continue to look through my leagues here and kind of figure out what is going on with these, I don't think I've clinched any playoff spots yet. I'm close on some. I don't think I've actually clinched any, which is kind of interesting here. So in our in Marvin, our redraft listener league, let's see where are we at here. I'm down 4 points with 6 to go. Down 4 points with 6 to go. So it's going to be tough. I'm going to make a push, but it's going to be tough. We will see if we are going to hop in or not. So yeah. Any other start sit questions? We will answer them. Sorry, guys, I'm just double checking my my roster, trying to get ahead of it because I always wait until Sunday to do it. You know, obviously, I check the Thursday games and stuff, but always try and double check it here. Okay. Losing Laporta in the Poseidon League is rough. Yeah, Dan, it is tough. I have Mark Andrews if you're interested. Who are you starting now, Dan? Do you have you've clinched technically you haven't clinched a playoff spot, but you've essentially clinched a playoff spot, right? You're 6 points up on 7th place and there's 6 to go. So that would be an epic collapse. So at least you got that. Ooh, you're starting Jatavian Sanders. I'm willing to trade you some Laporta, right? Or not Laporta, Mark Andrews. I mean, I know he's not the Mark Andrews of old, but he's still been pretty productive. He is the tight end 14 in this league and 114th overall. So considering we start 144 players each week, you know, he's an above average starter. If you're interested, Dan, I'm willing to trade it. So, man, I thought, you know what's funny about Poseidon? I thought by far, out of all the teams I drafted this offseason, that Poseidon was my best team. I was like, man, I'm deep. Like my roster was deep. I was like sitting on the bench, guys like, you know, Jaden Reed was on my bench and Alvin Kamara was out on my bench and stuff like that. Like I had just depth, and then it just did not work out. AJ Brown sucked. I lost obviously James Conner. I lost you know, some other players, and not Jaden Reed. Maybe it was someone else. DJ Moore, I think it was. So I'm willing to move off Andrews, Dan, if you are. Let me see here. What you got? What is up? This Stefan. So have you a few starters on bye this week? Full PPR. A few starters on bye this week, full PPR. Pick one wide receiver spot, 2 flex spots, and 1 to drop. All right, let's start with the wide receiver here. Starting off with the wide receiver spot, full PPR. We have Addison, Dobbs, Pierce. Okay. So of those 3, Addison, Dobbs, or Pierce. Of those three, I think I lean Dobbs. It's pretty close, though. It is pretty close. But I think I lean Dobbs slightly of those three. And then two flex spots, Emmanuel Wilson, Sean Tucker, Kenneth Walker. I think of the flex spots there, I definitely not going to start one of the wide. It's going to be one of those running backs. I think I'm going to go. Oh man, I think I go Emmanuel Wilson and Sean Tucker. So I think I go, and then who do I drop? You have to drop one of them. I guess I drop Pierce. I don't love it. I don't love doing that though. That's tough, man. You have to drop one of those. You don't have a backup quarterback or tight end to drop. I guess I lean towards dropping Alec Pierce if I'm not starting him this week, but I really don't love that, man. So I really, really don't love that. But I guess that's who I would be dropping there, Steven. Hopefully that helps you. Made some good trades. Yeah, when I saw that when I saw that, I didn't even make that. Someone, Brando, I think it was, right? He proposed that to me. Brando Bando. He proposed that to me. The Stafford for Dart, and I quickly accepted it. Now it's been good for Brando because Stafford's been awesome too. I would still take Dart, obviously, but at that point, Dart wasn't starting. I do have the 101. That's another reason why I like that team. Even before I started to go a little bit more into rebuild mode, I had some good capital too. I had an extra like first and extra second. So I'm looking pretty good. I'm still very optimistic about that team next year. You know, I have 2 firsts next year, including the potential 101. I have 4 seconds. I have an extra first in 27, an extra second in 27. So I have a lot of ammo for sure. I'll probably be looking to trade out of the 101, to be honest. And I still have good building blocks, you know, in May, Henderson. I'm still excited about A.J. Brown, you know, McCarthy, Dart. We'll see about McCarthy, you know, Marvin Harrison and stuff like that. So still have some good building blocks there for sure. So I'm pretty happy where I'm at in that team. It just didn't work out this year for whatever reason. Did not work out this year. I don't think I have been making like a slight late season push here, but it's not. There's no way I'm gonna. I mean, I shouldn't say there's no way, but I'd be shocked if I somehow like made a push to the playoffs. I've already started off poorly. I had to start Josh Palmer, so yeah, it's been fun though. It's been fun to kind of see that league like play out a little bit. It has been fun to see that. A lot of action in that league, a lot of reactions to trades in that league, right? People react like crazy in that league when it comes to trades. So, which is fun though. I like that. I like people being invested and stuff like that. So, would you trade Nico or BTJ and a first to upgrade to Rice in Dynasty? That's a good question. I don't think I would. That's tough. So I assume you're trying to add ammo to your team, right? You're trying to add players to your team to go out and you know, potentially go on a run, right? I think it's still not the right move to make personally. Like, I know Nico BTJ have been disappointing, but they could still be good. They could still close out these last 6 weeks. Like, put it this way: if Nico or BTJ are even either equal to what Rice does, one of them is equal to what Rice does, or is even slightly lower. Like let's just say like they average Nico Collins averages 2 points less per game than Rice from this point on, right? I think you're going to be extremely disappointed that you made that trade. Like you're going to have Rice absolutely blow one of those guys out the water for you to be happy that you made that trade. And so I'm a little bit hesitant about doing that, mostly because I still believe both in Nico and BTJ. And so to add a first on top of those guys, although I don't think it's a terrible move, and I do think Rice is going to be better, I think Rice has to be a lot better than those guys, from this point on, for you to be happy with that trade. So, yeah, that's an interesting one, though. That is an interesting one for sure. Yeah, no problem, Will. No problem. Again, like you're getting Rice too, so you're getting like it's not like you're getting an older veteran that you're just using for this year. But yeah, I just think all those guys. I like Rice the most. I'll say that, and he's in a different tier than those guys. I don't know if the difference between them though is a first. So that's just where I'm at there. Start Demont versus the Giants or Jaylen Warren versus the Bears. It's Warren. Warren's playing, right? Obviously, if Warren's out, then that's an easy move. But yeah, it's Warren for me, pretty easily there. Would I keep White or Hunt? What do you mean by keep? Do you mean start? Do you mean keep in a keeper, or are you asking me which one I would drop out of those two guys? I mean, if you're not starting Rachaad White this week, then you probably should just cut him, right? Because Bucky is seemingly back next week. Plus, you have the Sean Tucker situation. So if you're not starting White this week, then I'm cutting him. If I am starting, which one would you drop? So yeah, I guess that's my question. Are you thinking about starting White this week? Or are they both on your bench? I would start Hunt over White. So that probably means I would just be cutting Rachaad White. So I would do it Sunday though. So that maybe there's a chance if you get news about Bucky Irving, something happening to Bucky Irving, that you sorry, I was just reading something. That you have a chance to pick Rachaad White back up again. So but yeah, I think that's the way I would go there. But yeah, guys, any other questions? Get them in. I'll be happy to help you. If not, we will be back tomorrow. I need to get a kicker and I need to drop someone for Boswell. I can't help you too much with like kickers. I just tend to go with, besides the studs, like guys who play indoors. So yeah, but I would make that move Sunday morning so that maybe there's a chance you can get Rachaad White back just in case Bucky is no good to play next week. Dan, if you're still here, I'm trying to think of a trade here I could do with you that involves Andrews. I'm also interested in, or not interested, but I'm willing to move off of, more than just Andrews. Here. What can I cook up here? Would you start Monty, Hunt, or White? Monty, Hunt, or White. My order there for those players in PPR would be in that order: Monty, Hunt, White. In that order, it's close with Hunt and Montgomery, but I'm going to go Montgomery still. In that order there. anyways, guys, gonna probably take off. We'll be live again, an hour before the games tomorrow. So if you have some last minute, we're gonna probably get a lot of oh, this player's out, this player's in type of stuff. So yeah, appreciate you all. Thank you, Dan, Smitty. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good Saturday.